I want to break something down for you, Dave. For everybody that's listening, right? Because I'm on Instagram and I get a lot of pushback because I teach you how to buy commercial real estate with no money down strategies, right?
No money down?
Yeah. And they feel like, that's not true. No money down. You know,
it's not true.
It's not true.
It's not true.
So obviously you have to put money down, but it doesn't have to be money from you. So I want to break down exact situation that I did so that everybody could kind of get the picture and literally utilize all of our strategies.
Gotcha. All this free money floating around, y'all. All you got to do is go get it. Just run the play. Just run the play. All you got to do is go get it. Street credit. Nah, we want business credit. Tell you one thing. Y'all play with them business credit banks if you want to. You're going to find out what a gangster really is. You're going to find out what a gangster really is. Because most gangsters won't show up at your mama house. These banks will show up at your mama house. Most gangsters got some rules about how they operate. These lending institutions, all bets are off if you don't pay them their money.
All right, so a couple years ago, what was the 2020, right? I went and purchased the property. Well, I got a property under contract, single family. So it's a single family property, like boom. Mm-hmm. Last time I was on the podcast, I talked about the family legacy meeting, right? All that cool stuff. So had my family legacy meeting, trying to see who else around me has good credit. Mm-hmm. So my cousin, who's a correction officer, he worked 40, 60 hours a week, know nothing about credit, real estate, or anything, but he has an 800 credit score. Didn't know it, right?
He didn't even know it.
He didn't know it. He just pays his bills on time. He's a responsible person.
That's lit.
But now that I expose him to the opportunity of investing and how he can make money passively, he's interested. So I put him on my LLC on an operating agreement as a member and got him $45,000 in 24 hours.
Whoa, hold on. You have an LLC that's been in business obviously over 2 years.
Correct.
So you can take someone and put them on your operating agreement.
Yep.
Is it still considered a business loan or a personal loan?
It's a business credit card. So I got him a Chase business credit card, $45,000.
No doubt.
So he got a Chase business credit card, $45,000, simply by you putting him on your LLC, because now it looks like it's been his business for however long.
Correct.
And now he's got a business credit card.
And he started with nothing, just an 800 credit score, and putting him on the business. He has no prior knowledge of anything.
What he's not telling you is that once this loan, or not loan, once the credit that was procured on that Chase business card under his cousin's name, under his LLC, if that card is defaulted on, his personal credit is screwed. See, with a business loan, the rules are a little bit different than business credit cards. Number one, business credit cards don't report to your business credit. Shocker. Bet y'all didn't know that. Number two, business credit cards can come after you personally on your personal credit should you default. Say, can I turn up my mic? Let me see. Is that better? My mic is, let me turn it up some. Is that better? Sorry, y'all, my voice got a little scratchy. But he's not telling you that business credit cards can report to your personal credit, ruining your personal credit should you not pay that money back, should you default on that. And business credit cards you're qualifying for personally. All of his information, personal information, goes to Chase now. So he's put this man in the line of fire, and I bet you this dude don't even understand none of that.
So I'm sharing that because this could be somebody who, as long as you obviously have the information, but it doesn't stop there, right? So $45,000, I found a property, we got it under contract, we leveraged hard money, only had to come to the table with about $12,000, right?
Explain the leverage hard money.
So hard money, you find a property, they're going to give you 70% loan to value, right? So as long as you get the property under contract at the right price, they'll give you as much money as possible, and you just got to cover closing costs. So I had to come to the table with about $8,000. So hard money is a these lenders that give out money to buy real estate, right? So I go to my cousin. Now I could have put the $8,000 out of my own pocket, but I went to my cousin to say have him invest because I wanted him to be a believer. Now that I got him $45,000, but I'm sharing this because at this point I still haven't used any of my own money, right? I put him on my business, $45,000 Chase credit card. got the property under contract. $8,000 is the down payment. So we pulled the money off the credit card, the $45,000, and put it down as a down payment to contract the property.
8,000 out of the 45.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And then we took off an extra $30,000 to float the construction because I have to pay the contractors to.
I see. So y'all maxed out the card.
You max out the card.
Okay.
But with the Chase card, they give you cash back and rewards. So when you spend over $15,000 in 3 months, they give you $750 back cash back.
Okay.
So because we maxed out the cards, $750 cash back, that covered the minimum payment for a couple months. So now you got no minimum payment because he levered the cash back. We bought a property, fixed it up, sold the property, made $120,000 profit. Profit, right? So now the $120,000 profit, pay off the credit card, that $45,000 back, and gave him 20% return on his money back to his pocket. So he used none of his own money and got paid passively. And I just did a deal, no money out of my pocket.
So there is a saying in the sports world. I used to do sports radio and sports television for NBC and ESPN. There's a saying about statistics that if you torture numbers, they'll tell you whatever you want to know. They'll tell you whatever you want. See, what this man is presenting to you are numbers that are fantasy, that come out of nowhere. There's no proof. Nobody's asking him for proof. But if you look up the statistics on how many real estate deals, or the percentage of real estate deals that go bad, that erase people's whole lineage of savings, you will see that this beautiful scenario is definitely the exception and not the rule. It's definitely the exception and not the rule. And this stuff could have worked out in 2021, 2022, because real estate was just can't lose. But if you've been in real estate longer than 10 years, you do understand fully that the formula that this man is pitching is probably about a 5% scenario, maybe 10% at max. And I don't know about you, but if somebody spun a revolver, had it to my head and told me, hey, if you pull the trigger, I'll give you $1 million. But there's a 10% chance that that bullet is coming out and you won't need that million. I'm not pulling that trigger. 10% of failure is just too high when you don't know and can't account for all of the things that can go wrong. He's banking on, just like with his ignorant cousin, you all, the consumers of this podcast, will just enter into the agreement without all of the particulars. Because you don't know what you don't know.
Right?
That's hard.
Now, don't stop there,
That's
right? Because then we thinking long term. So I did this back in 2020, right? So now probably had about $70,000, $80,000 that I was able to now take, and I put it into a life insurance policy because you got to pay tax on capital gains. I didn't want to do that at the time. So I put it into a life insurance policy that grows compound interest, right? So that $80,000 that I put in the life insurance policy, it grew to about $116,000, where I got 3 storage facilities right now under contract, and my down payment on that is $95,000.
Boom.
I borrowed the money off my life insurance, and that's my down payment on the 3 facilities. So now, none of my own money, but I started with a credit card, getting my cousin on board with my LLC, going and getting a single family, flipping it, turning it into 3 storage facilities that's generating $20,000 a month.
So 24 hours
Goodness
to short
gracious.
term to long term.
Hold on, y'all. I want to do some math here because I was a life insurance agent for 15 years. So I want to see what type of interest rate, me knowing what the interest rates looks like on a life insurance contract that he's discussing that grows with compound interest. Let's see how much a life insurance policy of $80,000 would earn over a 5-year period. Let's just check it out. So 80,000 times 0.007% is $560. So a life insurance policy that grew guaranteed at 7%, which is a really good life insurance policy rate, annually would make about $560. Okay? So let's take that. How many times do we have to earn that $560 to get to $116,000, which is a $36,000 difference? Let me see how many months this would have to earn that. Let's see, times Let me see, 36,000 divided by 560. So it would have to earn for 64 months consecutively, roughly, give or take. So let's just call it in between 55 and 64 months that life insurance policy would have to earn for in order for him to go from 80,000 on that life insurance policy to 116, unless he put more money, which is called overfunding the life insurance policy, which in that particular time frame can turn it into what's called a modified endowment contract, in which case you are then taxed by the government as an investment, not as a life insurance policy. He didn't say any of that shit. Now, my man JT, the pocket watcher, he can go over those numbers, and I'm sure I'm off by a little bit, but by doing the math without an life insurance illustration in front of me, that's roughly the time frame you'd be talking about. You'd be talking about 5 years of letting that life insurance policy sit there and collect premiums. Or he overfunded it to a point, at that point, you are going to turn that from a life insurance contract to a modified endowment investment contract. So did he pay taxes on that? Probably not. But see, he's not banking on people like me watching this podcast. He's banking on anybody else watching this podcast and going, so I can buy the real estate, I can flip the credit card, I can go ahead and get me a life insurance policy, and I can be my own bank, and my whole family's rich for the rest of my life. Where do I sign up? How much do I have to pay? This is the process that y'all go through.
Plus, the money that I borrowed from the life insurance policy, my down payment is still growing because it's in the policy to get compound interest. So I'm still making money on that money. And that's another strategy as far as like refi, what I plan to do later on with the facility to put the money back.
There's two sides to every coin. And as a journalist, it's my responsibility to ask the question of the other side, because all this could go terribly wrong. Yes?
Well, yeah, absolutely.
It could.
It has.
It has.
I want to share that too, because that's a great point.
You're asking too many questions.
Yes, I can tell you this worked and I did it X, Y, Z. But before that happened, I was in a bad deal, right? Because I paid contractors to do a job, didn't do my due diligence, right? I bought a property on an auction, and when you buy them on the auctions online, it's a blind sale. So you're just buying them. It's cheap, but you don't know what you get, right? So I was over leveraged, and again, to be transparent, the reason why I had to go and do the family legacy meeting and leverage my cousin, because I was over leveraged at the time. Because I invested wrong. I maxed out my credit cards. I'm like, damn, I'm strapped. But in that process, I learned what I did wrong.
Y'all don't ever hear this part of the podcast. Y'all don't ever hear this part of the podcast. Just the hot takes that sound good. Click the link in my bio.
So now I said, because I have the information, who could I pull around me that's going to help me get back in the game? And that's how I got back on track.
This dude knew he was absolutely cooked and pulled his cousin in with him. His mama's sister's son, or his mama's brother's son, or whatever. He pulled his cousin in with him. These are the likes of the people you're dealing with. Hey, I got the opportunity of a lifetime for you, cuz. Come check this out with me. I guarantee you cuzzo ain't know none of this. I guarantee you cuzzo ain't know he was fully maxed. I guarantee you cuzzo ain't know that he was over leveraged. I guarantee you cuzzo ain't know that he was at the end of the rope. And I got to give you the double whistle for my boy Anton. Whoa.
And now, go from there.
That's hard.